coming out. And I also want to thank the Elks Lodge for allowing us to gather here and do this, because not all agencies or organizations are open-minded enough to understand that the American way is freedom and discussion, and that's what we do in this country. We don't have to have our facts approved by a government agency. We can get them out there and talk about them. So thanks very much to the Elks Lodge. And I also want to say that some of my earliest memories are going to the Elks Lodge with my grandfather, who was an Elks member, and sitting there with him, and he'd let me taste a little beer at the bar now and then, and I think I turned out all right despite that. But this is kind of just a nice thing to come back to, and I really do appreciate you allowing us to be here. So we're here, and we really are the cutting edge of what is proving to be a revolutionary movement in medicine. This is really something that's going far beyond what I ever imagined when I first started doing this for justice. Because we didn't know about the endocannabinoid system really back in 1996 when we passed 215, and back in 1991 when I was a caregiver for my best friend who was dying of AIDS, and I saw that marijuana kept weight on him and kept his mood up and helped him live longer. So back then we knew it worked, but we didn't know why. And in the meantime, we've had this discovery of this incredible body of science, and what it tells us is that in our bodies we have what's called an endocannabinoid receptor system. And this is expressed really through a significant part of our bodies, significantly in our central nervous system and in our peripheral nervous system, but also in immune cells and certain organ tissue. And the job of this endocannabinoid system, which is regulated by molecules we make in our bodies called endocannabinoids, the job of this system is to prevent disease environments from getting a hold in us, to interrupt any disease processes that might get a hold of us, and to trigger our intrinsic repair mechanisms that respond to the damage that disease processes have done. And the marijuana cannabis plant is really unique in that it produces compounds that are almost identical molecularly to the compounds our bodies produce to regulate and optimize our health. So that when we ingest these cannabinoids, even through smoking cannabis or eating edibles that it's been cooked into, or through vaporization, or through taking tinctures, or through juicing, these introduce these compounds which act as supplements to our natural cannabinoids and amplify their protective and healing effects. So this is real. Our opponents want to pretend like there's, nothing to do with it. Marijuana needs to be Schedule 1. There's no medical use. But science has spoken, and what science is saying to us is that cannabis is good for us. It reduces our chances for developing a number of diseases. It ameliorates the suffering. It eases the suffering that these diseases causes. The cannabinoids can go in and insert themselves into our biological systems and stop the degenerative processes that are occurring in many diseases, and then trigger our bodies to reverse the damage and produce healthy new brain cells, to produce new cells that aren't impacted by dangerous inflammation, and to replace cells, and to really optimize our health. This is why I have taken up the motto that marijuana use is health positive behavior. Adult marijuana use is health positive behavior, because these compounds are working with us to reduce our chances for developing numerous diseases, to slow down those diseases, and to help us heal from them. Now, at the back here, we have a display of medical abstracts from peer-reviewed journals, and I believe there are 11, and there are packets back there where you can take those and look at them. They're pretty complex. It's in medical language. We might talk about that a little later, and maybe I'll do some interpretation of those. But what you want to do with this information is give it to your doctors. If you know a nurse, give it to a nurse. Give it to medical professionals. Give it to your elected officials. You know, if they are passing bad laws, they may not be sharp enough to understand any of what it says, but hopefully after today, you'll be able to take their hands and walk them through it and educate them, because that's what this is about. This is Canna We Talk. We're talking here, and from here, we're going to go out into our communities, into our families, and we're going to tell the truth of what cannabis does and how it impacts human health in a beneficial way. Now, it is upon us because we are facing the most powerful government on earth, and their propaganda machine and their law enforcement machine, and it's brutal and it's unrepentant and it's determined to keep the status quo. But the status quo is untenable because there are people out there who are suffering and are getting diseases, and we could dial that back. We can help them. We can do outreach, and it's not about getting high. You don't have to get high necessarily to benefit from cannabis. My perspective is if you enjoy getting high, it's not a problem. We allow alcohol, we allow caffeine, coffee, all kinds of mind-altering substances, and adult responsible use is not out of the question with cannabis in any way. And in fact, pleasurable social use of cannabis brings some pretty decent health benefits into our lives. So that's one aspect that's fine. If you want to get high and have social use of marijuana, cannabis, great. But on the other hand, we need to let the people who are not interested at all in getting high, let them know how they can benefit from cannabis and do outreach to them and education, because with tinctures, with CBD cannabinoid products, with THCV, these products have minimal mind-altering effects and confer a lot of protective effects on the user. And when the public learns how protective and beneficial these substances are, they're going to come along with us. They're going to want to join us, and they're going to get outraged at laws that inhibit the ability of people to cultivate cannabis the way it should be grown, not like Anne Frank hiding in a closet, but outdoors in the sun, because the sunshine, cannabis is a plant of light, and it takes sunlight and it turns sunlight into healing crystals, which actually supplement our health. You know, do you really want to have salad greens and broccoli and vegetables grown under lamps hydroponically, or would you rather have them grown in an organic garden with good soil and light and the whole atmosphere, nature? I don't want to denigrate the people who are indoor cultivators because they are responding to irrational laws and an irrational social situation, and they're brilliant. Some of them are amazing, like alchemists. But really, the most healing, holistic, for the planet, for society, when you grow it outdoors, the impact on the environment is minimal compared to the incredible energy suck it takes, the amount of water for hydroponics. All of this, we really can do it better outdoors. And so I get some of my medicine. I'm a medical user, and it comes from up here. And I want to say I appreciate the people who are the artists who cultivate it and the humanitarians, and I want them to keep being able to do this. Now, we really do have to educate. We have to educate the medical professionals because they don't know what we're going to be talking about today. They're sadly ignorant. Medical schools don't teach this data, and it's up to us, ironically enough, to teach them what they need to know. And we also need to reach out to the media. Last night I turned on the TV locally and the news came up. It was Channel 7. Is Channel 7 here?
They just left.
Okay. Channel 7's motto is, get the facts right.
Yeah.
Right? Get the facts right. That's why we're here. We're going to help Channel 7 and the politicians of the area, the so-called officials, And the people and the medical practitioners, we're going to help them get the facts right. So learn this data, begin conversations every chance you can. Start to talk about how cannabis can help someone. It can help people who have pain syndromes. I give remedies, balms that are made from cannabis and sprays. I give them to people who have no interest in getting high, who are very conservative, nice, wonderful, salt-of-the-earth rural people, and they have some resistance because of the brainwashing. But once they find out that this helps their pain, one fellow, I gave him the topical therapeutic mud, and he started using it for his terrible rheumatism and arthritis, and his skin cancer started to come off. He said it's more effective against his skin cancer than the topical chemotherapeutic agent he was using. They peel right off using this cannabinoid mud. So there's a whole range we're going to do outreach on. Also talking about local media, I turned on the radio this morning and I flipped through, got to hear a little Rolling Stones, and then some terrible hair metal music came on, and I flipped it, and I came upon a talk radio station, 99.3, I think it's basically Tea Party radio. And they're talking about liberty, and they're talking about rights and individual rights, and the government getting into our business too far. And this is a perfect topic to bring up to these people. Call into that station, 99.3. I wanted to, but I was getting ready to come here and I couldn't. And start talking their talk and introduce this idea that growing and using cannabis is a basic human freedom. And they need to stand with us on that. One other thing I heard them say is that the local sheriff's department has suggested that neighborhoods strengthen their neighborhood watch programs because the sheriff's department is underfunded and understaffed to respond to property crimes locally, and they really need to be the first line of defense against this. Well, if the sheriff's department can't respond to property crimes, what the hell is it going to be doing going after marijuana on private property? Yeah. Let's get the priorities straight. And let's enforce laws that need to be enforced and not put in laws that are just aggravating people because they're doing something you don't understand and don't approve of. We need to start minding our own business and taking care of our own and letting people exert their American freedoms. And cannabis is a big part of that. So, I guess that, Zoe? How's our time? Okay, good. So, and they say space-time distortion. I don't. On the money.